Hey guys, welcome to CPM 2. We're going to go over percents, decimals, and fractions in lesson 5 of module 4. So in this lesson, we're going to be given, let's say maybe percents and have to convert whatever percent we were given to either a decimal or a fraction. Or we could start in decimals and have to go to percent or fraction. Or be given a fraction, have to go to a percent or a decimal. So we're going to be given one of the three and asked to go to one of the other two. So it says right here, the word percent comes from the Latin phrase percentum, which means per 100. For example, 53% means 53 per 100. So example 1, 100 adults were asked to name their favorite sport, and the results are shown in the circle graph. So because we were asked exactly 100 adults, these are all in percent. So we've got 8%, 3%, 4%, and so on. So A says, what sport was preferred by most adults? So it looks like football here has the biggest chunk of that circle graph. So football. And then what percent preferred that sport? We got right here 37, which means that is 37%. B says, what percent of adults prefer football or soccer? So how many prefer football is 37%. Okay, we saw that from last problem. Soccer, how many like soccer? It looks like 13%. And this or right here means that we're going to add the two together. So 37 plus 13 is going to give me 50%. C says, what percent of adults prefer basketball or baseball? So same thing. Basketball looks like basketball is 20. So 20%. Or means we're going to add these together, and how many like baseball would be 15. So add those two together. 15 plus 20 is going to give me 35%. Prefer basketball or baseball. Okay, objective B, we need to write percents as decimals or fractions. So because percent means per 100, you can do this one of two ways. You can either, we'll say, okay, option 1, you can simply divide the percent by 100. Okay, so for example, on this one, on A, we would just simply do 23 divided by 100. And if you put that in your calculator, you're going to get 0.23 as your decimal. Okay, so that's one way. Put a little squiggly here. Option 2, you're going to get the exact same result. But option 2, you are simply going to move the decimal 2 places to the to the left. Okay. So if you look at this decimal here, right, 23% means that decimal is at the very back. It's behind that 23. Okay, right back here, and we move it 2 places to the left. Okay, so same thing here, 4.6%. So we can do 4.6 divided by 100. That's going to give us 0.046. Okay, or you just take that decimal, move it 2 places to the left, and put that 0 right there as that placeholder. And same thing on C. you're either doing 190 divided by 100 to get you 1.9. Or, since I don't see that decimal, it's at the very back, I'm going to move it 1, 2 places to the left, which puts it right there between that 1 and that 9. Okay, so either way you do it, whether you divide by 100 in your calculator or you just move it 2 decimal places to the left. So this one's going to be similar. Now I want to write a percent as a fraction. So this one's going to be a 2-step process. Now, your first step is going to be put your percent over 100. Okay, so I'm going to put step 1 so you know that this isn't 2 different options. Step 1, put your percent over 100. And then step 2, reduce fraction if possible. Okay, so here on A we got 17 over 100. That's our step 1. And then look to see if you can reduce that. Can you divide anything into 17 and 100? Well, in this case, no, we can't. So that is my fraction there. Okay, same thing here, 40%. So we're going to do 40 over 100. Now with this one, I can reduce. So you can do this in as many steps as you need to or as it takes. You can say they're both even. You can divide by 2. You can say you can divide by 5. They both end in 0, so I can divide by 10. But the biggest number that we can divide into both of these is actually going to be 20. So 40 divided by 20 is 2, and 100 divided by 20 is 5. And there is actually a way to put this in your calculator where you can just reduce fractions in your calculator now. If you do that, I can't really show you through this video, so you need to come see me if you're interested in learning that. But there is a way to go straight from here to here in your calculator. Okay, example 3, write each so this says to write it as a fraction or a mixed number. So in this one, that mixed number is going to come in handy here. Here, we have 125 over 100. This, I can divide both of them by 25. And again, you could start with 5 and then go to 5 again, but 25 is the biggest. So then that gives me 125 divided by 5 is 5. And 100 divided by 25 is 4. So this is my fraction, but because it's improper, we need to write this one as a mixed number. So again, your calculator will do this for you. I can show you how to do it in your calculator, but you gotta come and see me. To do this by hand, we're gonna have to say how many times does 4 go into 5? Goes in 1 time, multiply it back, subtract, and we get 1. So my mixed number here would be 1 from this one up here. Okay, this is your whole number. And this is your numerator right here, so 1 and 1/4. You're going to keep the same number as the bottom of that fraction. So that is my mixed number. Same thing on D, 150 over 100. Let's divide both of these by 50. So that's going to give me 3 over 2. So again, mixed number. So we'll have to decide or have to figure out how many times does 2 evenly go into 3. That is 1 time. Multiply it back and subtract to get 1 again. So this is your whole number here. So 1 and here's your numerator, 1, and keep that same bottom number, so 1/2. Again, I can get this answer, and this answer in my calculator. Come see me if you don't know how. Okay, objective C, we need to write decimals or fractions as a percent. So this one here says that we're basically just going to multiply each of these by 100. Multiply by 100. Okay, that is your first option. Or if you notice here, whenever we do 0.65 times 100, if you put that in your calculator, then you will simply get 65. So this is 65%. Because I'm going opposite, right? Earlier we did percent to decimal, and we moved that over 2 places to the left. Now that I'm going in the opposite direction, you're just simply moving that decimal 2 places to the right. So the other way you can do this is move decimal 2 places to the right. Okay, doesn't matter which way you do it, you get the same result no matter what. So on this one, if we do 1.25 times 100 in your calculator, you'll get 125, so 125%. Or just take this and move it 2 times. Here, you'll do 0.012 times 100. When you put that in your calculator, you're going to get 1.2, so 1.2%. And again, you can just 1, 2, move it 2 places over. Same thing here, 0.6 times 100. Put that in your calculator, you're going to get 60, so 60%. Or just move it 1, 2 times over and put that 0 there as that placeholder. Okay, either way works. And then the last portion here, it says to write a fraction as a percent. So this one has 2 steps. First, let's do step 1 again. Step 1, change your fraction to a decimal. And again, that's from lesson 1 of this module. We're just dividing. You're dividing the numerator by the denominator. So then step 2 is going to put us exactly where we were last page. Then we're going to have some decimal. And so you are either going to multiply by 100 or move your decimal 2 places to the right. So multiply by 100 or move decimal 2 places to the right. Okay. So on A, in your calculator, 31 divided by 100 gives me 0.31. So then either multiply that by 100 or take that decimal, move it 2 places. Either way, you're going to get 31. So this becomes 31%. Which, that one should make sense since we're dividing by 100, and that's the definition of a percent, is it's per 100. So if it's over 100, just take that top number, okay? On B, do the same process. So 7 divided by 20, and I don't know what that is, so 7 divided by 20 gives me 0.35. So either take that and multiply by 100 or move it 2 places over to get 35%. Okay, same thing here. On C, divide in your calculator. 3 divided by 25, you're going to get 0.12. So take that and multiply by 100 or move it 2 places over to get 12%. Okay, let's change this one here to an improper fraction. So to do that, we're doing 5 times 2 to get 10 plus the 1 to get 11. Keep that all over the same thing. So now in your calculator, we're doing 11 divided by 2. Which is 5.5, which should kind of make sense, right? Because if we have 5 and then 1/2 as a decimal is that 0.5. Okay, so that's where that comes from. So then either multiply that by 100 or move your decimal 2 places over. We're going to get 550%. And same thing here. This is going to be 2.25%. 1/4 as a decimal is 0.25. Okay, but if you move this to a mixed number, we're doing 2 times 4 to get 8, plus the 1 to get 9. So I've got 9/4. And so when you put in your calculator, 9 divided by 4, we should get 2.25. Yes, so now either multiply that by 100 or take your decimal and move it 2 places. We'll get 225%. All right, now we got some application problems. So, example 6 says, in the last 10 years, automobiles, thieves in the continental U.S. has decreased 39.8%. Write this percent as a decimal and as a fraction. So, as a decimal, all I need to do is take this here and move it 2 places over. So this becomes 0.398. Okay, that's my decimal. And then as a fraction, we need to put this right here over 100. We don't like a decimal within a fraction. So for this problem, I've got to move this decimal 1 place over to make that a whole number. So that means we got to move this one 1 place over too, and we're going to add in that 0. So now this becomes 398 over 1,000. And now let's divide. So I don't know what this will be as a simplified fraction. So I guess we'll start by dividing by 2. So 398 divided by 2 is 199. 1,000 divided by 2 is 500. And I actually believe that's as simplified as that gets. Okay. 7, an advertisement for a studio reads 1/4 off. What percent is this? Okay, so that's what we just did right up here. Okay, I need to go from here to here. So in our calculators, we'll do 1 divided by 4 to get 0.25. And then you either multiply this by 100 or you move this over 2 places. We're going to get 25%. So it's 25% off. Okay, and then on 8 in a particular year, 0.781 of all electricity produced in France was nuclear generated. Write this decimal as a percent. So to write this as a percent, this is what we did just right here. Either take this decimal and multiply by 100 or move it 2 places. Either way, we get 78.1%. All right, that's all I've got for this lesson. Pause this video and rewind it as you need to. Let me know if you have any questions, especially over that calculator stuff. I'll help you figure out how to do that simplified fraction and your mixed numbers in your calculator.